God will transform your sadness into a peace that the world cannot understand. Do you know that weight in your chest that seems to never go away? That feeling of carrying the world on your shoulders, alone, while everyone else moves on as if nothing is happening? I know how it feels, and if you're here now, it's because you know that pain too. Sadness has a peculiar way of making us feel small, invisible, as if no one could truly understand what we're going through. But today, you're going to discover something that can change everything. The truth is, sadness doesn't ask permission to arrive. It invades our days, steals our smiles, and makes hope seem like just a pretty word that doesn't apply to our reality. How many nights have you spent awake, feeling that anguish tightening your heart? How many times have you tried to explain what you feel, but words simply weren't enough? Emotional pain is real. It hurts as much as any physical wound, sometimes even more, because no one sees it, no one touches it, but it's there, consuming you from the inside. And the worst part is, when you try to be strong, you get out of bed, put on a smile, go to work, talk to people, but inside it's like you're screaming. How do you deal with sadness when it becomes your constant companion? When you look in the mirror and don't even recognize who's there anymore? The feeling of carrying the weight of the world is no exaggeration. It's the reality of someone fighting an invisible battle every day. But here's something important. This pain you feel is not the end of your story. It may seem that way, especially when days turn into weeks and weeks into months of suffering. But God didn't create you to live crushed by sadness. There is a peace you haven't yet experienced, a comfort from God in sadness that goes beyond any logical explanation. And that peace is closer than you imagine. Today, you will understand how God transforms sadness into peace. I'm not talking about a magic solution or pretending the pain doesn't exist. I'm talking about a real, profound transformation that begins from the inside out. An inner peace in God that remains even when circumstances haven't changed. And I promise, by the end you will discover the secret of this peace that the world cannot understand. But before we get there, are you prepared to discover that perhaps the silence you've been feeling isn't abandonment, but rather God's preparation for something greater? There's a particularly difficult moment in the journey of grief. It's when you cry out, pray, plead, and all you get back is silence. God's silence can be deafening, can't it? You're there, heartbroken, searching for answers, looking for a sign, anything to show that He's listening, but nothing. It's like screaming into a bottomless well and not even hearing the echo of your own voice. And then comes that question that gnaws at you from within. Where is God? The feeling of abandonment is one of the loneliest experiences anyone can have. You feel like you've been left behind, forgotten, ignored. Prayers seem to hit the ceiling and bounce back empty. You read the Bible, but the words don't penetrate deeper than the surface. You go to church, but return home with the same emptiness. And then comes that cruel doubt. Does God really care? Does He see my pain? Or did I do something so wrong that He turned His back on me? Let me tell you about a man who knew this silence intimately. Joseph was 17 years old when his own brothers sold him into slavery. Imagine the scene. He's in a dark pit, listening to his brothers negotiating his life for 20 pieces of silver. All he had done was recount a few dreams, be his father's favorite son. And now, he was being dragged to a foreign country, chained, alone. Where was God at that moment? Did Joseph cry out? Certainly. Did he plead with his brothers? We know he did. But it seemed as if the heavens were silent, and Joseph's story didn't improve quickly. He arrived in Egypt, worked hard, was faithful, honest, and upright. And what did he get in return? He was unjustly accused of a crime he didn't commit and thrown into prison. Years passed. Not days, not months, years. There, in the darkness of that cell, Joseph must have asked himself 1,000 times, God, where are those dreams you gave me? Where is the promise? Why am I here? The silence continued. The lack of answers was agonizing. But here is the secret that Joseph didn't yet know. God was working in silence, preparing something that we couldn't even imagine in our wildest dreams. Because look, while Joseph thought he was being forgotten, God was positioning every piece on the board. Every injustice, every tear, every sleepless night, everything was being used for something greater. Years later, Joseph would become the second most powerful man in Egypt, saving entire nations from famine, including his own family. And when his brothers bowed before him, terrified, Joseph said something extraordinary. "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." He understood that silence was not abandonment. It was preparation. What if the silence you are experiencing right now is not the absence of God, but rather the sound of Him building something so grand in your life that it needs to happen far from your sight? Here's a truth that goes against everything the world teaches. You don't need to wait for the storm to pass to have peace. God's promise isn't a life without problems, but a peace that remains even when chaos is roaring around you. That's what Paul wrote about when he said, "And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." Philippians 4:7. See? A peace that surpasses understanding. It doesn't make sense to the human mind, but it's real for those who trust. Think about it. The world tells you that you can only be at peace when everything is resolved. When the money is in the bank, when your health is good, when your relationships are harmonious, when your future is secure. But what if none of that is happening? What if you look around and only see chaos? That's exactly when God's promise manifests itself in a supernatural way. Inner peace in God doesn't depend on your circumstances. It transcends, it surpasses, it remains firm even when everything is crumbling. Jesus was in a boat with his disciples when a violent storm arose. The waves were so high they covered the boat, the wind was deafening, and the disciples, experienced fishermen, accustomed to the sea, were terrified, thinking they were going to die. And Jesus, he was sleeping, calmly, peacefully sleeping in the stern of the boat. It wasn't indifference, it was peace. It was the absolute confidence that nothing could get out of the Father's control. And when he woke up, he didn't calm the disciples first. He calmed the storm. "Be still, be calm," and everything became completely calm. But here's what many people don't realize. The faith that brings peace isn't about getting God to calm your storms. It's about trusting Him even when He doesn't. It's about resting in the certainty that whatever happens, you are safe in His hands. God can calm the sea around you, yes, but sometimes what He really wants to do is calm the sea within you. Because when you have inner peace, the external storm loses its power to destroy you. God's promise to you today is this: trusting in God during difficult times is not naivete, it's wisdom. It's not pretending everything is all right. It's knowing that regardless of how things are, you are not alone, that there is a purpose greater than you can see now, that the same God who sustained Joseph in prison, who protected Daniel in the lion's den, who strengthened Paul in his chains, that same God is with you. Philippians 4:13 says, "I can do all things through Him who strengthens me." But what does that really mean when you can't even get out of bed in the morning? Now, we arrive at a crucial point: the peace that the world doesn't understand. Do you know why? Because it defies all human logic. People look at you facing storms that would bring anyone down, and you still manage to smile. Not a fake smile, not a mask, but a genuine smile that comes from a deep place. And they ask, how do you do it? It's not that you don't feel the pain. It's not that you deny the problem. It's that there's something greater sustaining you from within. That is the supernatural peace that only God can give. The world understands the peace that comes when everything is going well. When you receive good news, when you get that promotion, when your medical tests come back negative, that peace makes sense. But what about the peace that remains when you lose your job and still sleep peacefully? When you receive a difficult diagnosis and yet maintain hope? When you go through a devastating loss and still manage to thank God? The world doesn't understand that. That is supernatural. That is divine comfort working in your life. Think of the Apostle Paul and Silas. They were brutally beaten, their backs torn by the whips. Then they were thrown into the deepest part of the prison, their feet fastened in stocks, unable to move. It was midnight. It was dark, cold, and painful. Any normal person would be groaning in pain, cursing the injustice, and revolting against God. But what did they do? They began to sing hymns and praise God. So loudly that the other prisoners could hear, it made no sense at all. It was a peace that the world could not comprehend. And God answered with an earthquake that opened all the prison doors. Oh, and since we're talking about things that don't make sense to the world, let me take a quick break here. If this content is touching your heart, subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Because the more people we reach with this message, the more lives will be transformed by God's peace. And I know you know someone who needs to hear this today, so share it, tag that person, spread this hope, okay? Let's continue. The tranquility that comes from the Christian faith is not passivity. It's not about crossing your arms and waiting for things to magically resolve themselves. It's an active confidence, an unwavering certainty that God is in control even when you don't see the way. It's the serenity that comes from God working in your heart, transforming your perspective on situations. Because when you have inner peace, you are no longer a hostage to external circumstances. You become stable, firm, rooted in something the world cannot touch or destroy. And it is precisely this inexplicable peace that prepares the ground for something even deeper, the emotional healing you so desperately need. Let's talk about something many people are afraid to admit. Emotional wounds are just as real as physical wounds, and sometimes they take even longer to heal. You may have all your bones intact, your body functioning perfectly, but inside, you're shattered. Emotional healing through faith is not an instantaneous process, as some preach. It's not simply praying once, and that's it, healed. It's a journey. It's letting God take care of your wounded heart, layer by layer, memory by memory, pain by pain. Do you know the big difference between trying to heal yourself alone and letting God do that work? When you try alone, you tend to hide the wounds, cover them with emotional band-aids, pretend everything is fine until, in some situation, everything explodes again. But when you surrender it to God, He is not afraid to touch the painful parts. He is in no hurry. God cares for the wounded heart with a delicacy and at the same time with a surgical precision that only He possesses. He knows exactly where it hurts, why it hurts, and how to truly heal it. Faith in times of sadness acts like an anchor. You know those ship anchors? When the storm comes, the ship doesn't have to fight the waves alone. It's held to something firm on the seabed. Faith does that for you. It keeps you connected to something bigger, stronger, deeper than any emotional storm you may be facing. And while you are anchored in that faith, God will be working on emotional transformation, rebuilding what has been broken. Isaiah 41:10 brings a beautiful promise. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Notice the verbs: strengthen, help, uphold. God isn't offering you a magic potion of instant happiness. He's offering you support. He's saying, I will hold you while you heal. I will give you strength when you have none left. I will help you take every step of this journey. That is the relief of pain through faith. And here's something that can completely change your perspective. Emotional healing doesn't mean you'll forget what happened. It means the memory will no longer have power over you. God brings relief from pain, not by erasing your history, but by rewriting its meaning. The scars remain, yes. But instead of weakening you, they become a testament to your strength. Instead of shaming you, they show how much you survived. Instead of defining you, they prove that God sustained you when no one else could. But this cure is not the end of the journey. It's just the beginning of a transformation that will turn your life upside down in the best possible way. Transformation is a powerful word, isn't it? But what does it really mean? When we're talking about your life, your pain, your broken heart. It means that God isn't just going to put a bandage on your wound. He's going to do something completely new in you. Emotional transformation in God is like a butterfly emerging from its cocoon. You can't rush it, you can't force it. But when it happens, it's impossible not to notice. You look back and think, wow, was I that person? How did I get to this point? Hope in God during pain is not empty sentimentality. It's not about repeating positive phrases until you convince yourself that everything is all right. It's something much deeper. It's that feeling that even without seeing the whole path, you know there's a next step. Even without having all the answers, you have peace to continue. Even without understanding why, you trust in the who. And that who is a God who has never failed you, who will never fail you, who has plans greater than you can imagine. Let me tell you something. Transformation usually happens in the places you least expect it. In the middle of the desert, not in the oasis. In prison, not in the palace. In the valley, not on the mountaintop. Why? Because it's in the low places that you stop trusting yourself and start trusting God completely. It's when you reach your limit that you discover that God's resources are limitless. It's when you have no more strength that you experience His strength, and that changes everything. God restores hope in a peculiar way. He doesn't simply remove the darkness all at once. Often, He lights a small light, a light so small you hardly notice it. It might be a comforting word from a friend. It might be a verse that leaps off the page and strikes your heart. It might simply be the ability to take a deep breath and feel that maybe, just maybe, you will survive this. And then, day by day, that light grows. The darkness doesn't suddenly disappear, but you realize it's not so scary anymore because you're no longer alone in it. The inner peace in God that results from this transformation is unlike anything else. It's not euphoria. It's not that superficial joy that depends on external circumstances. It's a deep, silent, unwavering certainty that you are being cared for, that your story is not over, that the difficult chapter you are living through now is not the last. There is a turning of the page happening, even if you can't see it yet. But where do you find that transformation when you're feeling completely alone, abandoned in the desert of life? The desert has a strange way of teaching us things that no other place can. There are no distractions, no noise, nowhere to escape. It's you, the silence, and God, and it is precisely in this arid place where it seems nothing can grow that the most intimate encounters with the divine take place. Divine comfort is not always noisy or dramatic. Sometimes it's a whisper so gentle that you need to be completely still to hear it. But when you hear it, it sustains you in a way that nothing else could. Hagar, an Egyptian slave, knew this desert intimately. She was pregnant, fleeing abuse, alone, without anyone, without prospects, without hope. She sat by a spring in the desert, probably crying, probably wondering how she had reached that point, what the end would be like. And it was there in that place of utter helplessness that the angel of the Lord appeared to her. Not in a palace, not in a synagogue, in a desert. And Hagar gave God a name that very few people in the Bible had the privilege of giving: El Roi, the God who sees me. She found peace in the desert because she found a God who saw her. Christian spiritual peace isn't about being in a comfortable place. It's about recognizing God's presence everywhere. The desert can be a depression you can't explain. It can be the loneliness after losing someone you loved. It can be that feeling of being lost in life, not knowing which direction to take. It can be 1,000 different things. But what matters isn't the desert itself. It's who is with you in it. Because when you recognize that God is there, the desert doesn't cease to be a desert, but you cease to be lost. The serenity that comes from God is cultivated precisely in these moments, not in the easy times, but in the difficult ones. Not when everything makes sense, but when nothing does. It's a serenity that goes beyond human comprehension because it's not based on what you see, but on what you believe. 2 Corinthians 4:18 says, "So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen, since what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal." The desert is temporary, but what God is doing in you there is eternal. Emotional rest in God happens when you finally stop fighting and begin to trust. When you let go of control and let Him guide you, when you accept that it's okay not to have all the answers because you know the one who does. And in that rest, in that surrender, something miraculous happens. You discover that you are being carried, that even when you feel you can't take another step, you are moving, because it's not your feet that carry you forward. It's God's arms carrying you through the desert. And it is precisely at this point in the journey that the most important question arises. How do you maintain this peace, this faith, when the desert seems endless? Here's a stark truth. Maintaining faith in times of sorrow is one of the hardest things you'll ever do in life. It's not a leisurely stroll in the park. It's a steep climb when you're exhausted, wounded, and unable to see the top. But do you know what separates those who give up from those who persevere? It's not strength. It's not courage. It's the deliberate, conscious, sometimes even desperate decision to trust even without understanding, to believe even without seeing, to keep walking even trembling with fear. Trusting God during difficult times is not the absence of doubt. Let me free you from a dangerous illusion. You don't need to have perfect, unwavering, unquestioning faith. Even John the Baptist, the forerunner of Jesus, the man who baptized Christ himself, had his doubts. From prison, he sent word to ask Jesus, "Are you the one who is to come, or should we expect someone else?" If even John doubted, do you think God will condemn you for your questions? Faith is not absolute certainty all the time. Faith is choosing to trust despite uncertainties. Overcoming pain through faith is an active, not a passive process. It's not about sitting and waiting for God to do everything for you while you don't lift a finger. It's about waking up every day and making the decision to choose hope instead of despair, to choose gratitude instead of bitterness, to choose prayer instead of giving up. Some days you'll manage to take 10 steps of faith. Other days, you'll only manage half a step, and that's okay, because God doesn't measure your faith by the distance you walk, but by the direction you choose. Proverbs 3:5-6 is a verse that many people know, but few truly apply. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight. Do you see? Don't lean on, don't rely on your own understanding, because what you understand is limited, it's partial, it's based on what you see now. But what God knows is complete, it's eternal, it's based on what He is preparing. To trust is to let go of the need to understand everything. And here's something that might surprise you. God cares for you not only in the moments when you feel Him near. He cares for you especially in the moments when you feel nothing. On gray, monotonous days, when everything seems empty. On the days you pray and it seems like your words don't come off the ground. On the days you read the Bible and the words seem lifeless. On those days, God is sustaining you even when you don't realize it. His faithfulness doesn't depend on your feelings. It is constant, unwavering, guaranteed. But there's something even more comforting you need to know. Even when you feel like you can't take it anymore, you're never alone. Deuteronomy 31:6 contains one of the most powerful promises in all of Scripture. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Wherever you go. Not just on beautiful, flowery paths. Not just in seasons of blessing and joy, but also in the valley of the shadow of death. Also in the storm. Also in the darkness. God never abandons those He loves. Never. That is not a possibility in His vocabulary. The problem is that we often confuse silence with abandonment. We confuse delay with giving up. We confuse long processes with indifference. But think about it. When a surgeon is performing a delicate operation, he doesn't talk to the anesthetized patient, explaining each step. He works in silence, with total concentration, with surgical precision, and it's only when the patient wakes up, healed, that he understands he was being cared for the whole time. God operates in the same way in the deepest areas of our soul. The spiritual confidence that develops when you understand this is liberating. You stop living on the emotional roller coaster of feeling that God is near one day and far the next. You begin to live in the certainty that He is constant even when your emotions are not. You discover that the safe haven in God is not a physical place, not an emotion, not a mystical experience. It is a person. It is Jesus. And He promised to be with you every day until the end of the age. Psalm 46:1 declares, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Very present. Not distant, not indifferent, not too busy with other things. Very present. That word very in Hebrew carries an intensity that is sometimes lost in translation. It means very, very present, extremely present, completely present. In your worst moments when you think you can't take it anymore, God is not only present, but intensely present. His presence is strongest precisely where your pain is deepest. And here's what that practically means. You don't need to be afraid of what lies ahead. Not because the future will be easy. It might not be. Not because you're prepared for anything, maybe you're not, but because the same God who brought you this far won't let you fall now. God is with you isn't just a pretty phrase for motivational comics. It's a spiritual reality that changes everything. It's the difference between facing the storm alone or facing it with the Creator of the universe by your side. And when you finally understand that you have never been and never will be alone, something extraordinary begins to blossom, an inner peace that nothing can steal. Let's talk about the kind of peace that money can't buy, that therapy alone can't achieve, that external circumstances can't produce. Inner peace in God is the ripe fruit of a journey of trust. It's not something you achieve overnight. It's something that grows, develops, and strengthens as you experience God's faithfulness repeatedly. Every storm you survive with Him by your side, every valley you cross without getting lost, every dark night that gives way to a new dawn. Tranquility through faith doesn't mean you live in a state of permanent spiritual ecstasy. It's not about always smiling, always excited, always inspired. It's about having a firm, unwavering center that remains calm, even when everything around is in chaos. It's like those roly-poly dolls that no matter how many times you knock them down, always return to an upright position. Why? Because the weight is in the base. When your base is God, when your foundation is Christ, you may be shaken, but you will not be destroyed. The peace that surpasses all understanding makes no sense to those watching from the outside. They see your circumstances and think, if it were me, I would have already snapped. But you remain steadfast. They see your challenges and think, impossible to be at peace in this situation. But you are. Not because you are superhuman, not because you don't feel the pain, but because you have discovered a secret the world doesn't know. Your peace doesn't depend on what happens to you, but on who is within you. The Holy Spirit of God dwelling in you, producing fruit that you alone could never produce. John 14:27 records Jesus' words, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid." Do you see the difference? Jesus didn't say, "I'm going to make your life easy so you can have peace." He said, "I'm going to give you my peace, regardless of what your life seems like." No. The peace of the world is conditional. It depends on favorable circumstances. The peace of Christ is unconditional. It remains even in the most unfavorable circumstances. And here's the most beautiful part. When you have that genuine inner peace, it overflows. It affects not only you, but everyone around you. You become a source of calm in an anxious world, a point of stability in a chaotic world, a light of hope in a desperate world. People begin to notice that there's something different about you. They can't explain it, but they feel it. And when they ask what your secret is, you have the opportunity to point to the one who is the source of all true peace. But this peace is not the end of the journey. In fact, it is the beginning of a completely transformed life. True transformation isn't just about what God takes away from you, the sadness, the pain, the despair. It's about what He puts in its place. The peace that transforms isn't just an inner feeling that makes you comfortable. It's an active force that completely changes how you live, how you react, how you relate to the world. It's when you realize you're no longer the same person you were when all this began. And that change, it's visible, it's tangible, it's undeniable. To experience transformation means that now, when the storm arrives, your first reaction is no longer panic, it's prayer. When someone hurts you, your first reaction is no longer revenge, it's forgiveness. When things don't go as planned, your first reaction is no longer despair, it's trust. This doesn't happen because you've become perfect, far from it. It happens because emotional transformation in God has changed your internal programming. You've been reconnected to the source, and now you operate differently. Do you know what's fascinating? God renews your strength not only by giving you back what you've lost, but by giving you something new, something better. Isaiah 40:31 says, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint." It's not just recovery, it's renewal. It's an upgrade. You don't go back to being who you were before the crisis. You become someone better, stronger, wiser, more compassionate. The wounds become foundation. The pain becomes purpose. The peace you experience now is no longer something you keep to yourself. It overflows, naturally, inevitably. You find yourself comforting someone who is going through what you went through. You find yourself sharing your story, not with shame, but with authority. You are using your scars to heal the wounds of others. And in this process, you realize something extraordinary. God didn't waste anything you went through. Every tear had a purpose. Every sleepless night was preparing you for something greater. 2 Corinthians 1:3-4 explains it perfectly. Praise be to the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of compassion and the God of all comfort, who comforts us in all our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves receive from God. You were comforted to comfort others. You were healed to heal others. You were transformed to be an instrument of transformation. That is the beauty of God's work in your life. And now the time has come to consolidate all of this, to tie up all the loose ends, to reveal what I promised at the beginning. So, let's go back to the beginning. Remember that weight on your chest I mentioned at the start, that feeling of carrying the world alone. Today, you discovered that you don't have to carry it alone, that there is a peace available to you that goes beyond any logical explanation, a peace that the world doesn't understand, can't give, can't steal. And this peace has a name, Jesus Christ. He is the fulfilled promise. He is the safe refuge. He is the source of real and lasting transformation. God transforms sadness into peace, not like a magic trick, not like an instant formula, but like a process of reconstruction. He takes the broken pieces of your life and creates something new, something beautiful, something purposeful. God brings peace to the heart not by erasing your history, but by redeeming it. Not by denying your pain, but by using it. Not by ignoring your tears, but by transforming each one into seeds of hope that will bloom in due time. This is the hope in God that sustains you even in the darkest days. And here's the revelation I've been saving for this moment. You're not here by chance. It wasn't a coincidence that you clicked on this video, that you watched this far, that your heart is being touched now. God orchestrated this moment. He knew you needed to hear this today. He knew you were at your limit, that you were thinking of giving up, that you were wondering if it's worth continuing. And His answer to you right here, right now, is a resounding yes. Yes, it's worth it. Yes, you will survive this. Yes, better days are coming. Yes, He is with you. The emotional rest in God that you so desperately need begins with a decision. The decision to let go of control, to stop trying to solve everything alone, to let Him be God in your life. Matthew 11:28-29 offers the most welcoming invitation you will hear today. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. Rest, relief, peace, it's all available. It's all waiting for you. Now I want you to do something with me. Close your eyes for a moment and surrender this sadness to God. You don't need beautiful or eloquent words. Just say, God, I can't take it anymore. I need your peace. I choose to trust in you today. And believe He is listening. He is seeing. He is acting. The transformation has already begun. Peace is already on its way. God is already working on what you cannot yet see. Trusting God in difficult times is not naivete. It is the wisdom to recognize that you don't need to have all the answers, because you know the one who does. Before you go, let me ask you a favor. Share this video with someone. Do you know someone who is struggling with sadness, depression, or hopelessness? Send it to that person. It might be exactly the message they need to hear today. And if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe now and turn on notifications. Every week, there's new content to strengthen your faith and bring you closer to God. Leave your comment below too. Tell me how this video touched your heart. I read them all, and I will be praying for each of you. May the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, guard your heart and your mind in Christ Jesus. You are not alone. You never have been, and the best days of your life are yet to come. God is transforming your sadness into a peace that the world cannot understand, but that your heart will experience. Amen.